Hey guys, I haven't done a tutorial in a while, so I thought I would do one, and the tutorial is going to be on these miniature column candles. I think they're called column candles. Miniature candles. When I was making miniatures one day, I was thinking about how I was thinking about my mother and how she always has candles lit, and so this is what I came up with to make candles. So what you're going to need to make these is you're going to need a base, and I have a piece of filigree. You can use you can pretty much use anything you want. Just needs to be large enough. I don't know if you guys can see this, but looks like there's wax dripping down. I just want you guys to be able to see it real quick. Okay, so you need a piece of filigree. You need a piece of paper. Now the paper I'm using is a thicker off-white computer paper or printer paper. So it's got kind of like a yellowy tinge to it. It's not the stark white like most people use. You can certainly use stark white if you want to. This is just what I prefer. So it's more of an eggshell off-white. You will also need your hot glue gun with hot glue. And you will need, oh my goodness, where did that go? You will need a piece of, I have no clue where I put that, a piece of white wire. And if you don't have white wire, you can use silver, or you could color this is like an eggshell white colored wire, and you can, if you only have like silver or something, you can like color it white with a white paint pen, or you can just leave it silver. And then you'll also need a black paint pen. So the first thing you want to do is get your scissors and you want to cut a strip of paper off. Now, however wide you cut the strip is the height that your candle will be. So if I make my cut right there, if I start right there, this is how tall my candle will be. And you don't have to be perfect. Cut it perfect. And I usually cut a strip that's the strip is about 8 inches long. So the first thing that you want to do is have your piece of white wire ready. You're also going to need wire cutters, or whatever color wire you so choose to use. This is just a piece of scrap wire for my gum trees. And you want to take your hot glue gun once it's hot. And you want to make a thin line right on the edge, and then quickly take your wire and shove it in the hot glue and just let it cool. And then just to get this long piece out of the way, let's see, I usually cut a little bit less than half a centimeter away from the top here. Whatever you wanted, whatever length you want to do is obviously fine. So I also glued some dog hair in it. Okay, so you'll have it, it should look like that. So once your glue is kind of cooled down, then you want to start rolling it and get it as tight of a roll as you can. And you want to make sure you keep a lot of tension on it, because if you let it go or lose your grip, the paper will very, very quickly unravel. And you want to make sure the bottom is as flat and even as you can, the bottom of the candlestick. But the top doesn't have to be so perfect, because you can fill it up with hot glue in the end. Just try and get the bottom even. And when you've cut your strips of paper, if you found that you've reached how thick you want your candle to be, you can go ahead and just cut off any excess paper. Okay, so once you get to the end, do not let go of this. You're gonna have a little flap like that. And my hot glue stick fell out. And you just want to put hot glue on the edge. And if you're, I'm very used to the hot glue. It doesn't bother me. But if you can't take the heat from the hot glue, you can go ahead and use a different glue. You're just gonna have to hold it for a lot longer, or you could wrap it with a rubber band, I guess. This is just quickest. Okay, so I don't know how well you saw that. I'll go ahead and do another candle, but see if the camera will focus for me. It's gonna look a little messy if you're using the hot glue, which is fine, because the next thing that you're gonna do, I'm just gonna pull off any chunks of hot glue. Kind of tidy it up a little bit. So the next thing that you're going to want to do is I'm going to go ahead and color the wick next. So I'm taking my black paint pen, shaking it up, and you just want to color the very tip of the wick black so it looks like it's been burning. So it'll look like that. Alright, so there's obviously this very noticeable seam where the end of the paper is. So what you want to do next is take your hot glue gun and just kind of fill in the top. This is why I said the top doesn't have to be even, because you can fill in the top with the hot glue so it looks like melted wax. And then where the seam is, I'm going to try and do this the best I can so that you can see it. Wait for the camera to focus. Take your hot glue gun right on the seam of the paper and go along the seam and kind of push up so it looks like wax is dribbled down. So it'll kind of look like that. Camera will focus and then it blurs. I don't understand why it does that. So that's your first candle. Make sure you don't drop it and ruin your dripped ink look. Okay, that's pretty hard. Now, so that's one candle, and if you just want to do one candle, you can. I like to do sets of 3 personally, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut another strip of paper. And remember, the width of your strip will be the height of your candle. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and cut my 2 remaining strips just to quicken the process here. Make sure I know where my white wire is this time. Okay. So once again, to start your candle, draw a line with hot glue. Place in your wire and let it sit till it cools. Cut less than 1/2 centimeter. And start rolling. Once you get to the end, put your line of hot glue Fold it over. I really can't feel it anymore, so. Uh-oh. Paper came loose when the glue was cooling, of course. Okay, guess that candle's trashed. Sorry, guys. First time that's ever happened to me. Of course, it's during a tutorial. Sometimes you will have to start over, but they're not hard to make, so it's not like you put a great deal of time into them, you know. Sorry, guys. Something happened to my tripod. My dog's knocked it over, and now it's not very, it won't, keeps toppling over on me. Okay, let's try this again. And you want to kind of do as thin of the layer when you're putting the wick in as you can, because it can make it difficult if it's too thick and spread out. To when you start rolling it, it can make it more difficult to roll it. And the reason why I don't put hot glue as I'm going, you know, because hot glue isn't going to spread out thin like 99% of other glues. You're going to have all these lumps and stuff in there, so I just glued it at the very beginning and then the very end. Forgot to color my wick. That's not hard to do. One more to go. And one thing that I do like about these candles too is that you really don't have to have anything special to make them, you know. You don't have to buy anything special. You can pretty much make with what you have around the house. Sorry, didn't realize I was out of frame. So a lot of times with these, unless you've like cut a perfectly straight paper, and even sometimes if you do cut a perfectly straight strip of paper, your rolling can be off, and it'll create a well, like a funnel shape in the middle, and that's why I say just make sure the bottom's flat and even. The middle can be imperfect because you can just fill it up with hot glue. Let this cool for a sec. So once you have your 3 candles made, I'm gonna redo one of these again. I messed up on my second one again, but for time's sake. Grab your base. In my case, I have the filigree. And you want to have the part where you have the look of the, come on, focus please. The look of the wax dripping. You want to have that on the outside so that you can see it. You don't want to have it pointed on the inside of the trio of candles. So just put a dollop of glue and then just set it on like that, and obviously you want to put your shortest candle in the front. So it should kind of look like this, but a little bit nicer. I was rushing and I have poor depth perception through the camera, so see if it'll focus for me. Please focus. But it'll basically look like that. And there's a nice one that I made that I haven't rushed on. But those will be really, really cute for like miniature dressers or whatever. And they're so inexpensive and easy to make. So that is my miniature candle tutorial. Thanks for watching.